Today, I have a discussion with Karen de la Carriere on Tom Cruise and how the Scientology cult has pretty much done anything he asks. But in return, his publicity, the PR, really helps this cult look good and gain more followers. So much so that when they demand people who are in the Sea Org to not have children, and of course, force abortions upon them in the past, they're not concerned about that. Go after the celebrities. More people will join the cult that way. And that way they can control their members as well. Because if you do have a child, you're probably going to grow some type of sympathetic, emotional attachment as well. And they don't want that to stop them from being militant slaves of the cult they're in. We are Myth Vision. Welcome back to Myth Vision Podcast. I'm the host, Derek Lambert, and co-hosting with me today, my guest is Karen de la Carriere. Welcome back to Myth Vision.
Derek. Hello, Derek.
I'm excited.
Huggies.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So we're talking about one of the more interesting characters of Scientology, and that is Tom Cruise. I've enjoyed many of his movies in my life, and I actually bumped into him in Florida at one of the water parks there, Blizzard Beach. We walked right past him, and I thought it was my neighbor because I've watched his movies growing up. And my wife said, "Hold on, isn't that Tom Cruise?" Come to find out, there were 6 bodyguards following behind him. Yeah, Tom Cruise had took his daughter. I guess they had, during a divorce, it was just him and his daughter at Blizzard Beach. So Tom Cruise, tell us about this man and what happened in the 2000s. There was some big issue with him in Scientology.
Tom Cruise has had 3 wives, and all of them he divorced when they were 33 years old. What a coincidence, right? They hit the age 33, boom. The first wife got a name, Mimi Rogers. And Tom liked the counseling. He liked to talk and examine things. And Scientology saw what a crown jewel he could be. So when he married Nicole, kind of drifted away. He's left Scientology twice, but he doesn't do a grand exit announcing. He's just not available for their services.
Mm-hmm.
That's different than renouncing and saying, "I'm no longer a Scientologist."
Right.
He hasn't done that. He just sort of fizzled. Oh, Nicole's father was a psychologist. And
oil and water come together.
Yeah. And she came from a Catholic background. By the way, she's gone back to her Catholic faith, Nicole.
Wow.
She goes to Mass. She attends service every week. She's become a devout Catholic. She had counseling. She had all this odd things. But something really, just to show you the mindset of the cult, when Tom was getting counseling, I have to backtrack this. Hubbard put down in doctrines, get celebrities. And he named different celebrities that should be. Get the celebrities because Hubbard's theory was, people don't really think for themselves. They look up to an opinion leader.
Yep.
In other words, even in terms of voting, if someone you admire very much voted for Hillary Clinton, you'll follow that lead only because this person has so much altitude.
Right.
So he said, if a celebrity endorses Scientology, got hundreds of new members. So they didn't care about baby slaughter. They didn't care about just just kill the babies, abort, force, because their theory was our celebrities will reel in new Scientologists.
Right. This gets back to that whole thing you were talking about. Yeah. Because, I mean, so what? Kill the kids. It doesn't matter. We'll get new Scientologists using the celebrity's influence. And I see what you mean.
And using someone as big as Tom Cruise, a household name. So Tom Cruise fizzled out, and Marty Rathbun was sent on a mission to get him back. A mission is where you're given exact instructions and you go get the product, no matter what. You report daily on your progress. And Marty Rathbun got him back for some counseling. And at the time,
Bella, it was his daughters, Bella and Connor.
Yeah.
Connor was 6 and Bella was 9, you said.
They were brought into Celebrity Center and they were indoctrinated on good and evil. There are bad people, and there are good people. There are evil beings and good beings. And evil beings are called suppressive persons. The boy of 6 years old is being taught about suppressive persons. And then in that same series of indoctrination, they indoctrinated these 2 kids that their mother was a suppressive person. Scientology indoctrinated Connor and Bella that their own mom was an SP.
Yeah, that's like telling your kid their dad's going to hell or something. Like, you know, can you imagine telling your own kids that your father or mother is going to burn forever? Whoa, you know, it's kind of that idea, kind of, but
nice comparison. No. That's so, and they did become very estranged from Nicole. This is a classic what Scientology calls third party. Third party is a third person coming, intervening and whispering black PR.
Is this Nicole Kidman that's doing this? Is it Nicole Kidman that's this third party that's like whispering in his head?
Scientology is the third party.
Who?
Scientology is the third party.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
poisoning the kids against their mother. Scientology is the third party using third party techniques to poison these 2 children against their own Roman Catholic mother, who has father is a top psychologist at some big university in Sydney.
Imagine the debates at dinner with that one.
They felt that Tom had drifted away from Scientology due to Nicole's influence. And that's why they labeled her as a suppressive person.
Wow.
They felt she was the who. Scientology always has a who. Right?
Right.
So Tom Cruise got completely wooed. You would think, why on earth doesn't he read the internet? Doesn't Tom Cruise have availability to look at both sides? Because he's oblivious to the hundreds of videos and posts and forums and Facebook groups. He doesn't. Well, I'll tell you, Tom Cruise was treated like a Saudi king. He was just, at Ink Base, they made a huge sort of, a whole section was made just for Tom Cruise. His own basketball court, his own tennis court, his own gymnasium, his own series of cottages. It was pooped out beyond belief.
Oh, man.
And there's this famous story. Tom mentioned that he had a fantasy of running. Now, this is earlier, before Nicole is deemed a suppressive person. They're still trying to get Nicole to get indoctrinated, right? This is earlier. He's married to Mimi Rogers, but he's falling in love with Nicole, filming a movie called Days of Thunder. So Nicole and Tom are brought there, and Tom just mentions nonchalantly, I have a fantasy of running through the wilderness covered in daisies, holding Nicole's hand. Guess what?
No way.
Sea Org members were up all night planting the daisy field. Wildflowers all night. They got no sleep deprivation because Tom Cruise wanted to run through holding Nicole's hand. He had this mental image picture. So, sleep deprivation, but they screwed up and they planted the wrong flowers by accident. So all the flowers were ripped out, and they went another. It was like an all hands. The base had to work just to please Tom's fantasy of running through a flower-bedded pathway. So now more sleep deprivation, and the correct flowers were, I can't even begin to tell you how he was pampered.
Yeah, I can see. I can't even begin to fathom how intense this is. All I could say is, holy moly, imagine if Tom pulled out at that point. How damaging that would. They put so much into this guy. I would love it if he did, but odds are anyone who's literally getting their butt wiped by someone after they take a poo-poo, okay, odds are you're not stopping, and this guy's just getting red carpet rolled out, treated like a king, but they're pimping him out. You said that yourself. You're like, they're pimping him out. Come on.
Well, you know that Tom Cruise had a birthday party on the ship that Scientology owns called Freewinds. And it cost $400,000. Tax-free money. The IRS gave the church tax exemption. So $400,000 was used to give a glorious birthday party. For example, Tom commented that he liked a certain kind of sushi that was available in a Santa Monica restaurant in Santa Monica is it's on the beach. It's a sort of just outside Los Angeles.
Right.
40-minute drive. Do you know what they did? They transported the entire restaurant, the chefs, the food, the refrigerators. They shipped that all to Freewinds so that Tom could have the sushi he liked. I just want to show you the extravagance. And then they did clips of his various movies, all put together in a collage, and showed him the highlights of his most magnificent. This was in the theater. This birthday party was a $400,000 bill. And David Miscavige's father that you interviewed, Ron,
yeah, great guy.
did a show how the musicians got no sleep. They had to create music for Tom, and it went on and on. Anyway, this is all tax-free money. So Tom's view of Scientology is one of love and support. They give him anything. He just mentions a comment of dancing in the field with flowers, and the army of stuff created. So his wish is Scientology's command.
Right. Now, you mentioned this is the highlight, getting into the drama that I think is relevant. You and me and everyone else figured a way to get with somebody and dating people. And like, I met my wonderful wife when we were in high school. I know, I know. But you point out something that's really going on here. Scientology, you said, is hunting for a girl. I mean, they find him flowers, they bring him food, they pamper him and everything, but they're hunting for him a girlfriend. Can you tell me what is going on here?
Yeah. Well, after Nicole turned out to be like wrong for Scientology, she wasn't She wasn't obedient. She wasn't wanting more. They decided Tom needs a Scientology girlfriend,
Right.
but one that we can control and tame. So Vanity Fair, top magazine, put out the whole story. So Scientology put out an absolute lie to the prettiest girls in Scientology to make a short video to say, guess what? You might be in the next Tom Cruise movie. So we need a little audition on video to get your features, to get your demeanor, to get your mood and your manner. So send us a 5-minute clip of yourself. So the 30 prettiest girls in Scientology all submitted videos. And then Scientology Sea Org members who signed a billion-year contract, which Scientology says is religious spiritual vows, were actually a dating service working for Tom's sexual partner by viewing the videos and choosing the top 10 to send to Tom. Or how is any of this religious? This is looking for Tom's next sexual partner.
Right. I mean, I'll be honest with you, though. A lot of cults, I imagine, would do something like this because they know how powerful sex is for humans. I mean, we all need it at some point in our lives, it seems. It's very rare that people don't. And my point is, especially since they've seen these already active, what better than to find the perfect Scientology girl to keep him stuck in? That is cult 101. Find a girl who believes like you. I got a friend who just divorced his wife. She's an atheist. He was an atheist, but he became a Muslim and literally divorced his atheist wife that he had 3 or 4 kids with to be with someone that matches his faith. So it tells you, like, they're thinking psychology here, even though they're against psychology. Or, you know,
yeah. And you see these pictures of Sun Young Moon marrying 2,000 women with these bulk marriages all done. You've seen it, right?
Yeah, they have tons.
They never even met each other previously.
Right.
And these Korean women are matched up with these.
There's a guy named Lord Rael, is another cult guy who started a movement. You imagine Joseph Smith, you know, there's these celestial marriages, which probably were consummated at times, probably maybe not at others, who knows? But yeah, it's a big sign of cults. If there's sex involved, usually there's something going on. But
sign of cults to interfere and embed themselves in your marital sexual life. In Scientology, when you marry, there are 3 people in the marriage: you, your spouse, and Scientology. Scientology is an absolute bed partner, demanding and accepting knowledge reports of what your spouse says as pillow talk. Certain things I told my former husband, Heber Jensch, who was the former president of the Church of Scientology International. What I told him in bed, he was enforced by the cult to report to the cult. This is what I mean by a third person in the marriage. No privacy. You can't even tell your own spouse something that the cult doesn't demand to know. Carol Martiniano forced Heber to go in a room and write out what I had said in bed privately. Let
me ask you a personal question. Did you both kind of stop telling the public stuff? I mean, because maybe drama has happened and it's been difficult. Did you guys?
No, this was at the tail end when Heber was being ordered to divorce me.
Oh, wow. He was being ordered to?
Oh, yeah. He was ordered by David Miscavige to divorce me. Yeah. Let's get back to.
Wow. Okay.
He was ordered. let me send you a list of how many marriages David Miscavige broke up by order. They're all listed on the web. Like
Okay.
180. I wasn't just, there's tons of people. So Tom Cruise picked a girl, beautiful girl, who's a current actress. And Vanity, this is already on the internet, so I'm not breaching privacy or just public.
Right.
He picked this beautiful girl. I'll send you pictures. And they had a couple of months of world. Oh, she was. She asked, "What would?" Tom was asked by the cult, "What would you like most on your first date with the Scientology choice of your sexual partner?"
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "I'd like to go skating in the skating rink at Rockefeller Plaza. I'd like sushi. And yeah, I'd like to have an ice skating date with sushi, of course, laid on a platter by the cult. Ice skates were rented. She was flown to New York to do ice skating with Tom and eat sushi on the first date. Well, they had a 2-month whirlwind, intense romance. And then she didn't have,
I can see where this is going.
they were sitting at the table and she wasn't understanding Miscavige, and he just dumped her. So they were intense sexual partners for 2 months, and then Tom Cruise discarded her. And she was sent to Flag, the Clearwater facility. And she was made to clean toilets with a toothbrush. And she was made to work at night scrubbing floors. She was designated as a failure. She didn't please Tom Cruise enough. He had to discard her. And she almost had a mental breakdown. She went from Tom Cruise's girlfriend to an incarcerated slave cleaning toilets. It's beyond belief.
Yeah.
She wasn't a SEAL member. Anyway, she's risen higher and higher in acting roles. She's a Middle Eastern girl from Iran. I'll send you some. So when the story exploded on Vanity Fair, Tom Cruise truly, because he doesn't have a girlfriend now. Well, he may have some random dates.
Yeah.
He doesn't let the church, because it sort of was shameful. This whole story had embarrassment for all around.
Right.
Why would Tom Cruise look through church auditioned videos? Couldn't he find a girlfriend without using the cult as a dating service? I mean, this is like, this was completely pimping a girl.
Right.
What ecclesiastical, how can this be? But as you've mentioned, it's a cult phenomena to get it second dynamic.
Yeah, and a better way to control him than to have someone who fits in with what he thinks. That's wild. So now he doesn't let them interfere with his affairs, his relationship affairs, in terms of like.
He does not. He does not. But there's endless tabloid stuff saying Tom's leaving Scientology. So I don't know where they get this from, because he seems to be mesmerized by David Miscavige. He gives out statements that David Miscavige is the most honorable, ethical, wonderful human being. And then I'm going to end this little, we said we keep these short. Tom Cruise made this incredible statement, which just, first of all, David Miscavige called him the most loyal Scientologist that ever is, that ever was. Here's a movie star who doesn't work 90-hour weeks in the cult.
Right.
He goes around doing his pleasure. But Miscavige named him the most loyal, best Scientologist in the world. This is what. And you know what Tom Cruise said? He said, this is the finale. First, there is L. Ron Hubbard. Then there is David Miscavige. Then there is me.
Oh, wow. So he is buying into, he's probably got a similar kind of ego to what David Miscavige has. They like to be the ringleaders.
I think we should title this Scientology Tom Cruise, and then there is me.
Well, thank you so much, Karen. This has been really revealing. It just shows all of the signs of a cult when they want to fix your sex partners. They want to tell you who you can talk to, who you can associate yourself with. And nothing is deeper than getting to your sexual relationship partners. I mean, that's the lowest of the low you can go. So I get why they would be embarrassed. And I hope more people see this and they go, you know what? I think I'll stay away from Scientology. I don't imagine he'll ever leave. He is that treated like a king, but you never know. It'd be cool to see it happen one day.
Can I tell you just one little tidbit?
Yeah.
This was reported on different blogs and forums. David Miscavige liked to have a few of his inner circle buddies at night when he likes to drink whiskey at night, and they would chit chat and laugh and joke. And David Miscavige took out little tidbits of what Tom was confessing to about his very, very private sexual activity.
Mm-hmm.
And the senior execs of the Scientology cult would rumor monger and discuss it and laugh at Tom's sexual tidbits.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, you said that was on other blogs and stuff?
Yes, it was in Marty Rathbun's. Marty Rathbun was second in command. He was
David
Miscavige's right-hand man.
So he was the one exposing all of this.
Who reeled Tom back in the cult. And he reported that little juicy tidbits were taken out of Tom Cruise's folder. And Miscavige had a habit of doing that. Mm-hmm. There are numerous stories on how he took bits. So people think they're confessing privately with priest penitent privilege. Rubbish. There's no priest penitent privilege. What you say in session not only can and will be used against you in an ethics committee of evidence, but is gossiped with and chatted about by staff members. Routinely, this happened for years. For years.
Jeez.
So well, his so private, what he thinks is his peculiar sexual needs and wants, what he thought was private given up in a session, has been laughed at and mocked by the very hero that he adores, David Miscavige, and David Miscavige's inner circle. That's what I want the public to know.
Wow. Thank you so much, Karen. Everybody go down in the description, subscribe to her YouTube channel, and let us know if you like this episode, what you thought was interesting about this episode, or any other ideas pertaining to Scientology that you would like to hear from us. And once again, thank you to our guest, Karen De La Carriere.
If you would like more on Tom Cruise, we can do a Scientology part 2 with other anecdotes of Tom, but request it in the comments. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Never forget, we are Myth Vision.